What is up, everybody? SysAdmin Sean here with some more SysAdmin news. Today, we're going to talk about two pieces of news that have been out for a little bit, but I did kind of want to cover them and sort of point them out to everybody so we can discuss them. The first one is more VMware Broadcom news. So, apparently, Broadcom tells a partner negotiating for charity that VMware is not for everybody. And I don't completely disagree with this. VMware is not for everybody. I don't know if this was the best way to convey that to a charity children's hospital, I believe it is. So we'll go through the statement came back to me from Broadcom was, we appreciate that these changes, VMware is not for everybody, blah, 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 blah. Everyone else can use it. Broadcom is not going to gear its decisions towards them anymore. I can appreciate that. Restrict their decisions. It's not something I would do personally. Scale Computing CEO called out Broadcom for profit harvesting. I saw one children's hospital that had their price increased. I mean, everyone's getting their prices increased from Broadcom VMware, so there's really not much about that that's going to change unless you were already on a lot of the feature set. Then it probably didn't change that much for you. But a lot of companies, a lot of charities, a lot of higher education, these are the areas where Broadcom is really getting more profit, or at least attempting to get more profit. I don't know how well they're doing, because we were getting such a discount. These places were getting large, steep discounts because they don't have big budgets. Universities don't give their IT budgets $40 million, $50 million. They give it $10 million. And you know what a lot of that goes towards? Networking equipment to make sure that things like residence halls and Wi-Fi and firewalls and all of that stuff can exist on the campus for the student body and for faculty and staff to utilize. But that costs a ton of money. So a lot of times the other areas don't get as much of the budget. Now, that might change, but really what usually happens is word from above goes, well, do more with less. And this is another situation where it sounds like folks are going to have to change because they definitely can't do more with less. When we're talking about nonprofits and charities, they have got to try to get hearts and minds populace like ourselves and raise money for them. It's not as simple as a corporate client opening a checkbook a little wider to pay the bill. So yeah, I mean, a lot of these places that are charities, they run off donations. Now, there is obviously arguments about what is actually a charity, what's a nonprofit, how does that all play out? If we're just going to focus on the base layer here, that charities do not have the same kind of money that a Fortune 500 company has, especially when it comes to things like hospitals, where you really hope they're dedicating a lot of the funds towards helping children, helping sick people, and they're not like, well, we got a pretty big IT budget because we slashed the medicine budget or whatever. That's a pretty broad way to put it. It's another bad look for Broadcom. Again, I don't know why I'm wearing these. They don't have to, they can still make money, but maybe they shouldn't be trying to raise their prices so dramatically so quickly. A lot of people say, well, this is just Broadcom doing what Broadcom does, and that's kind of worrying me. So this alone makes me want to switch products, but that's not really the smartest way to do that. Second piece of information is something that I apparently had missed when it had gotten started, and now it's wrapping up. So IBM is nearing the deal to buy Hashicorp, which is how I pronounce it, Hashicorp. Their stock surged 24%, market value 6.1 billion. That's pretty cool. I know a lot of people use Terraform, and I heard that there's already been a fork of Terraform because this deal is going through. I believe there are a few other open source products that Hashicorp makes that have gotten forked or will be getting forked, so that folks don't have to buy into the IBM nomenclature. I highly suggest that because IBM is nowhere near the behemoth it used to be. It's been lackluster for me for a long time, especially since IBM became IBM Spectra Protect, and their IBM support for servers and SANs was really lackluster for us, and they were charging quite a bit of money for things. An example, we used to have at my previous workplace an IBM tape library. Pretty expensive piece of equipment. It's for backups, things like that. LTO tapes go into tape drives. There was a robotic arm. It sorted the drives, kept a library, ejected tapes when we needed to, did automated cleaning, things like that. Very cool. Really nice system. But we were paying IBM upwards of, I believe, $80,000 a year for maintenance and support warranty. and that covered firmware updates and stuff like that. But we weren't really getting any benefit from it because we weren't really having a lot of hardware failure. So we switched to third-party support, and that went from $80,000 to, I think, $1,500 a year. And we still got tape and robot parts next business day, no problem. The only thing we lost out on was firmware updates, which we weren't really updating the firmware that often, maybe once a year at most. And a lot of times it was getting to the point where, well, that tape drive doesn't have any more firmware updates. We just wanted to keep it running because we wanted to keep tapes because it was a cheap way to do an offline backup. All that to say, though, it just wasn't great support when we did need them. Our support contracts were a mess. The product ended up kind of being a mess. Everyone that I know has left Tivoli/Spectra Protect for something like Veeam because virtualization is sort of where it's at. And Spectra Protect back then, golly, that's been 10 years ago, wasn't really made for that. Now, what's IBM going to do with Hashicorp? I don't know. I'm curious to see, but luckily I don't have any investments in this cloud provider so far, so I don't feel very threatened by this. But in case you do, let me know down in the comments. Is this going to affect any of your plans? Anything that you do at Terraform? Any of that kind of stuff coming down and concerns for you with this IBM deal? So that's about it for SysAdmin News, and we'll see you in the next one.